At Talus, we know cybersecurity can be tough and you can't protect everything, but with Talus, you can secure what matters most. With Talus industry-leading platforms, you can protect critical applications, data, and identities, anywhere and at scale with the highest ROI. That's why the most trusted brands and largest banks, retailers, and healthcare companies in the world rely on Talus to protect what matters most: applications, data, and identities. That's Talus, T-H-A-L-E-S. Learn more at talusgroup.com/cyber.
Wouldn't it be great to manage your portfolio on one platform? Well, now you can trade all in one place on Robinhood. That means you can trade individual stocks and ETFs and also buy and sell crypto using seriously powerful and intuitive tools at one of the lowest costs on average without needing to manage multiple apps. Robinhood makes withdrawing and depositing crypto seamless. Send crypto to your Robinhood account or send crypto from your Robinhood account to other wallets without deposit or withdrawal fees from Robinhood. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Network fees may apply to crypto transfers. Crypto transfers may not be available to all customers. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC. Member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health, intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
All right. Welcome back.
Misfit Nation. The Misfit Nation Show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation Show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
Woo! Woo! Heck yeah! It's Tuesday, and the boys are ready. They're ready to get you pumped up. They're ready to let that thunder roll. They're ready. So now, I want you to reach up there. Pull those shoulders down tight. Those straps gotta be on tight right now. Put that helmet on and crank that shit up to 11. Because you know what? Let's go, Cagney. Let's go, Lacey. Let's get this thing rolling as Tuesday rocks and it rolls.
Hey,
I'm loving that intro more and more every week. How about you?
hey, I love it. I love it. How was your day off today?
It was good. Ran around, did some shopping, took care of things.
Good deal. Good
Made
deal.
nice pork chops for dinner, some cornbread.
Oh man, making me melt over here. I haven't even had supper yet, but getting ready to do that right after the show.
How was your day?
I am hot off a trip from wonderful Edinburgh, Indiana, and drove home today, of course, in the pouring rain all the way home, and tried out my new weed eater that Mrs. Holland bought for me. It's a good one. I like it.
Right.
And that's about it.
I just picked up spools for my skill that I have down my mother-in-law's. The auto release broke, so I had to get a couple new spools for it.
Okay.
So I'll go down there, fix that up, and it's a big 40 volt or 30 volt battery. It's pretty damn tough machine.
Oh, okay. You got one of those vegan weed eaters.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Stephen, we got a good one tonight.
Yes, we do.
He's a professional communicator with more than 12 years experience in marketing, advertising, public relations, expertise in strategic communication, event planning, and all kinds of stuff. And on top of that, he's a 20-year veteran of the military. So he has packed a lot into his time here on the planet.
Yes, he has.
You know, I'm looking forward to getting on here with him and seeing what he has to say about himself. So without any further ado, let's get Mr. Avon Cornelius in here.
Good evening, Avon. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you once again for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I would have my nice wall behind me. I got my I Love Me wall in my house, but as you all know, I'm short for my time, CONUS, and I'm headed to Hawaii here. So what you see is a nice courtyard Marriott background.
Nice.
Not my typical fancy background.
Nice. I just spent the last week in a Hampton Inn by Hilton. So yeah, I know how that goes. So we told a little bit about you, and it's certainly not enough. So why don't you just start from whenever you want to start and bring us up to how we got to where we are today?
Yeah, thank you again so much. So it all starts for me in Hampton, Virginia. My dad was an airman stationed at Langley Air Force Base when he met my mom. They got married, had me. I only lived in Hampton for a brief period, and then we were off to Germany. Then we were off to Missouri, off to Las Vegas. So military brat. My dad did 23 years. And it's as interesting as it was. he was a first sergeant, and he never like talked about work at home. He was one of those people who he was Cornelius in the office, and he was just dad for us.
Yeah.
So there was never any pressure or any like motivation for me to join. And then one day I was in college, and I was walking on my campus, and I saw a building that said ROTC, and I said, "What does that mean?" You know, I don't know what ROTC is. I walked inside, and I left with a scholarship. So did a 3-year ROTC scholarship. Commissioned as an infantryman. Did that for a bit. Loved it. Loved every minute of it. Switched over to human resources, thinking that was going to be better for me, and I did not like that. so I kind of had a come to Jesus moment. I said, okay, well, I've transitioned from infantry. I'm in HR. I'm not really loving it. And then I learned about the Army has functional areas. Switched over to what at the time was public affairs in the Army.
Okay.
Got a bunch of great opportunities being a public affairs practitioner in the Army. And it was kind of a full circle moment because in college I studied public relations. So, you know, the Army has a job for everybody. If whatever you want to do in the Army, you can find it. And I found that calling for me. That was really something I was really passionate about. So my last 10 years of my career was in public relations and marketing jobs. I was fortunate to get some really great opportunities. I got to work on the COVID task force under President Biden and President Trump. I got to work Army marketing. So I made like commercials for the Army. So Army Strong, Be All You Can Be. We brought that back. That was one of my last things I worked on at Army marketing was bringing back Be All You Could Be because it's one of the most popular slogans of all time. It's up there with Just Do It, right? I mean, it's really a big popular slogan. And then transitioned from the military about 2 years ago. I'm here in Chicago. Go Sox. For the Chicago Sun-Times. They brought me in as their marketing director after a 20-year military career. Then we found out my wife was getting ready to take battalion command in Hawaii. So
nice.
As much as I loved Chicago Public Media and Chicago Sun-Times, and we had a radio station called Vocalo. We also had Chicago's NPR affiliate fell under our umbrella as well. I knew that I couldn't do that work from Hawaii necessarily. So I inquired. I'd been following Booz Allen for a little while. I'd had some encounters with them doing different stuff, and came on to this company about a year ago. And I'm transitioning to a job in Hawaii this week, actually. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell. But again, thanks for the opportunity, and really appreciate what you guys are doing here.
Well, we're glad that you're here. Now, I do have a question for you. Does Mrs. Cornelius make you stand at attention when you talk to her?
So fortunately, I by date of rank, I outrank her, but only by date of rank, right? As anyone who's married knows, only by date of rank. There were some funny moments though, like I pinned Major, when she was still a captain. I pinned Lieutenant Colonel when she was still a major. So it would be always some tricky times when I'm meeting her at work or we're going to lunch and it's like, hey, we're on base. Like, hey, customs and courtesies, I think I may have pulled that one time and then I said, nah, I'm not gonna do that again. But
I'm not getting my ass kicked.
Yeah. I wouldn't even dream of telling Mrs. Holland she got to salute me.
That probably wasn't the best idea.
Now the question is, when you brought back to Be All You Could Be, did you think of bringing Bill Murray in to do it?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you think of bringing Bill Murray in to be?
You know what's funny about that is there's several famous actors who are in the. If you go look up just go on YouTube. You can just like YouTube like Be All You Could Be, like famous actor, and there's literally 20, 30 commercials with people before they got their big start being in a Be All You Can Be commercial. So,
nice.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I said, it's a popular slogan. We wanted to bring it back. We wanted to do something that would resonate with the current generation, right? Because I think ultimately, sometimes we make that mistake where it's like, I love Be All You Can Be, so Gen Alpha, Gen X, Gen Z is going to love it. That's not necessarily the case sometimes, right? But what we found through the research was that this was one slogan that really appealed to the current generation as well as veterans and current service members, because every time we did a commercial when I worked Army marketing, I always got a phone call or an email or a text from one of my buddies like, "What is this crap? This is terrible." I'm like, we can't always show door kickers. Sometimes we got to show the lawyers and the cooks and the dentists and the cyber warriors. Like, we can't. But my friends, if it wasn't a Kinetic commercial, they would be. I got a lot of crap for my many years I worked Army marketing.
Oh, I can understand. Now, I can remember when I was a kid, and I think the commercial that probably got me to join was, and this, I'm kind of showing my age here, was when the 82nd, they're doing the heavy drop. And then after everybody gets on the ground, everything, holding his canteen cup, he's like, "Morning, First Sergeant."
Morning, First Sergeant. Yep.
Yeah. That was an old one.
Yep.
Yeah. But I like the Army commercials, and, the ones, I think the Army did one as well. I know that the Navy did, where kids talking to their parents, and then it kind of takes them into the,
and it brings it back. They're like in their bedroom, or they're talking to mom and dad in the car. Yeah, I was fortunate to work on those. So that was a DoD initiative. So there's one of those for every service, right? We got one for Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and they called in Army marketing. So we flew out to LA, and they had reps from every service there to make sure the uniforms are right, the grooming standards were right, all that good stuff. Make sure that how we were portraying the units was correct. So yeah, there's one of those for about every service. But that was a DoD initiative. Those commercials are awesome. I love those commercials too, where you see the kid now and they're like a E7 or E5 or a second lieutenant or major, and they're talking to their parent in their workspace, right? And then it transitions to the kid sitting on the couch with mom and dad. So when they presented that concept to us, that I forget the name of those commercials. If I remember it, I'll let y'all know so people can like YouTube.
Okay,
but those commercials are awesome.
It
awesome
was, and that's, I mean, the only time I've ever met anybody that's been a part of anything like that, they came out. I'm at Fort Campbell right now, and they came out and they transformed one of our Mount Site villages. I mean, they had Hollywood people out there. And
you're talking about this was what, like 2018, 19?
Yeah.
That was me. That was my.
We've probably met.
We probably met. Yeah. That was my team. We came out. Yeah, we flew. We turned to Mount Site. Those commercials actually came out amazing. Those commercials are so awesome.
Because when it's on camera, you're like, man, is this really Craig Village?
Yep. Oh my goodness, the level of logistics that goes through getting that stuff approved through range control, getting a battalion or a company of soldiers to support in something like that, taken away from their training, taken away from their time. We flew some folks from Regiment. We flew some folks from 160th Aviation out to Campbell, right? Set this whole Mount Site up and filmed a series of really cool commercials. Yeah, that was us. That was my team. For sure.
Awesome.
That's a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good time.
Awesome.
Had to coordinate with the garrison. It's a whole lot that goes into making something like that.
Yeah. And again, I'm glad you got out of HR and, had a chance with, we used to, I know back when, for a while when we was teaching and we had a lot of cool stuff in the office, about once a month, the PAO office would call us and say, "Hey, we're doing a tour through Fort Campbell. Can we come by?" And you tell them, what we're doing. And so we'd get school kids, we'd get community leaders. And one time it was a whole bus full of, it was basically old women from Illinois that had signed up for one of these bus tours, and Fort Campbell was on one of them. And
wow.
Yeah, that was, it was a pretty cool thing to do, but now we really don't have much that we can offer the public. Yeah. This is our building. Yeah. That's about it. So we got out of that. So, so you got out of the military and, you've been doing all kinds of things, client engagement, event planning, marketing strategy, So now you said you was working for the newspaper in Chicago.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
now, who were some other folks that you were getting time in and working with, and some of the stuff you were doing there?
Oh yeah, I mean, so the Chicago Sun-Times, we call it the paper for the people, right? A great newspaper, long legacy of doing great stories, a lot of Pulitzer prizes, some amazing journalists who come out of there. If you remember Siskel and Ebert, like one was from the Chicago Tribune, one was from the Chicago Sun-Times. So
Yes,
we're a 2-newspaper town, right? So it's very competitive market, right, for where people get their news. But like I like to say, all journalism is local journalism. All news is local news, right? I mean, it took place somewhere, right? It may become national news, but it took place somewhere.
yes.
Very, very excited that the current Pope is from Chicago. So that's been a big seller for the Chicago Sun-Times.
I'm sure.
Yeah, my mom in North Carolina even bought a copy of the paper, not just because I work there, but just because she was just it was so cool to her that the Pope is from Chicago, and it's an organization I worked for a while. But the good thing about that job really was that we got to encounter everybody. I mean, anyone who comes through Chicago. We had, like I said, we had a newspaper and we had 2 radio stations, an urban alternative station and an NPR affiliate. So, I mean, we're getting everybody from like Billy D. Williams to like Bill Murray, right? I mean, we're getting everybody comes through Chicago, and we can usually kind of grab them and say, hey, can you do an interview for us? Or, are you willing to do a live show? Or are you willing to get on radio? So yeah, some really cool work there. I was brought in to help lead some marketing efforts there. Newspapers are transitioning over to digital, right? I mean, not a ton of folks still get a print newspaper. A lot of folks do, but more and more folks are getting a digital version of the paper. So one of the big initiatives when I came on board was, how do we transition to a digital first format? Print is, it's it's in its back 9, right? If it's a roller coaster, it's coming down that last loop. So that was really one of the big efforts, was how do we get people who have traditionally read it in print. If they still want it in print, we'll give it to you in print. But if you want to get it another way, and for the new generation, they're on this, right? They're on this thing. They're not really getting, even though there's a small subset of people, it's like my son, right? For example, my son is into like old music, old stuff. So he has a newspaper subscription because it's like a cool vintage thing, right? Yeah. But most young folks, that's not their path. So that was really one of our big efforts, was how do we bring this, what's a legacy print product, and make it accessible to more people, and anyone who wants to read it. You don't have to wait for 6:30 for your paper to get dropped off. You can just log on our website, log on our app, and get your information that way.
Yeah, but the question is, you're saying if they still want to deliver, how much kickback are you getting from the older people, like the people who like going to the bookstore and having the book in their hand and also have to have the newspaper?
I think it's a really fine balance, right? A lot of different markets are handling it different ways. So some markets have gone to, we're only going to print a print paper 3 days a week. We'll have news 7 days a week, but if you want it on it, like we print Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Some markets have done that. So you'll still get your paper, or you can go to your Walgreens local bookstore, read it from there. The way we've done it is we've kept all of our days. Because if people want it in print, we want to give it to them in print. It's kind of like meeting people where they are, right? Like if you want to get it from your phone, we got an app for you. If you want to get it from your desktop, we have a website for you. If you want to get it from, a print product, then we have that for you. So for us, it's really it was really striking that balance of, we don't want to alienate anybody. We don't want anyone to not be able to get their news the way they want to get their news. But you have to be cognizant that the market and landscape is changing. So creating everything digital first, but also having that print backstop where people can still get that information that way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 25 years ago, I worked at a retail store that sold newspapers, and I say Saturday night, 8 carts for the Sunday paper, putting the inserts in and everything. You go today, they have a stack of maybe 20 on the shelf because they don't sell them like that. No? Yeah. Back then, though, you sold 300 on Sunday morning, and it was just freaking chaos.
Yeah, the Sunday paper is one of the biggest, one of the biggest things, right? I mean,
that's slowly in the last 30 years went so far down, changed.
And I can remember, and really, I just thought of this. you know, if you went somewhere and checked into a hotel, every morning there was a USA Today laying at your door.
Yeah.
And that's gone.
Yep.
And and I'm old school. My sister makes fun of me because I will not read a Kindle. I like the smell of a book. I like the feel of a book. It's one of those things. I don't know.
And I know a lot of people say there's a couple different phenomenons, right? One of them is like the doom scrolling, right? Where you're just bad news after bad news after bad news, right? You're looking through your phone, right? On social media sites or on a news site. And I think there is something another phenomenon we saw is there's something very finite about a book, and that, versus your phone or your computer where you could scroll forever. When you hit the last page of that book or the last page of that newspaper, in this case, it's a finite experience. So hey, it's Sunday morning. I'm gonna read my paper I'm gonna read the sports section. My wife's gonna read the comics, and once I hit the last page, I'm done. So you have that sense of accomplishment, small sense of achievement. Have finished this. Whereas digitally, it never ends. You're always able to scroll. You're always able to continue reading more, right? So there is some goodness to. Yeah, there is some goodness to, like, this is done after I hit page 60, or this is done after I hit page 120.
Yeah, and you were an infantryman. You know the deal. You're out in the field. You've been out there however long you was out there, and used to every morning when the first sergeant brought chow, he brought some newspapers with him.
Yep.
And and everybody's in there tearing them apart, throwing what sections they want, and you got to catch up on things that you'd missed out on.
That's right.
So,
all right, we have a question coming in. First one of the night. At Selling Tea, what's one leadership lesson from the Army that you still use daily in your civilian career? Thank you, at Selling Tea.
Oh, wow. Yeah, thank you, Selling Tea. That's a great question. I couldn't even just limit it to one. I think there's so many things that I picked up from the military that I apply in my day-to-day life. Organization, right? My wife says I got OCD. I think I just like stuff in its place, right? Like, but she'll tell you something a little different. Organization's a big one. Time management's a big one. Confidence in speaking. I think, the longer you're in the military, you're gonna have to talk in front of people. So I think there's so many. I mean, there's so many. Being able to accept when you made a mistake, right? I think, like, being able to own up to, hey, I messed that up. I'll raise my hand. That was my fault. Teamwork from the military. There's so many things. I mean, I couldn't even just pick one lesson. I mean, teamwork, time management, organization, those few things. I know in the Army, we used to say right place, right time, right uniform. That's like 90% of the battle. And I feel like now that I've transitioned to civilian world, that is 90% of the battle. If I'm in the right place with the right stuff on, with the right attitude, that's going to take you far. So I couldn't just pick one. I know that, sorry, Selling Tea, that probably doesn't answer your question exactly, but there's a lot of things I've taken from the military, from my Army career, that I apply with my family when we're planning vacations. I apply it at work when we're planning the release of a new section of the newspaper. There's a ton that I apply on a daily basis for sure.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you can get into it or not, but like you said that you've been with Booze for about a year, you said?
Yeah.
Now, is that what you're doing for them? Are you still in communications and you still in that kind of role, or the marketing and stuff like that? Cool.
Yeah. So when I first came on to Booze, my first year was spent accelerating our AI programs. So Booz Allen is the leading provider of AI solutions to the federal government, and we really wanted to accelerate not only for our clients, but also for our staff. A lot of our staff are just like us. We don't know them. I don't know that much about AI. When that's news to me, right? So I learned about it in this job.
I took the online course.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. So I learned about it. I learned a ton about AI and the capabilities through work, and then we applied those lessons to not only our DoD clients who need this to be successful, but also to upskill our staff. So the Booz Allen staff are also learning and picking up AI at the same time as our clients and customers and warfighters. So, but So that was the first year. Now I'm getting ready to go to Hawaii, which I'm super excited about. It's like 40 degrees here in Chicago today. So can't wait to get to Hawaii and get some warmer weather. But I'm going there to do support for Pacific Air Force. So
Okay.
I'm an Army guy. My dad's an Air Force guy, so he's happy that I'm going to go work for the Air Force now. But yeah, I'm getting ready to go there and do some strategic communications for Pacific Air Force. So very excited about that opportunity and getting a chance to go back to Hawaii. We were stationed there, my wife and I, about 10 years ago. So she's actually going to take battalion command of the same unit that was her first unit. She's getting ready to go be the commander. So that's a really cool kind of full circle moment for her too.
Yeah, I can remember when I was here before and I wanted to make some changes. Now I can.
Right. Most definitely.
That's amazing. That's truly amazing. Now, just remember when you're dealing with you cannot talk to these Air Force folks like you talk to your infantry company. Okay.
You're right about that. Yeah, you're right about that. I've been getting coached up. So I don't go out
You
here
have to
with
offer them steak and eggs first before you do anything.
Right. Yeah, I'm excited to see how the other side lives, because everyone always tells me the Air Force has nicer accommodations and stuff. The Army does.
Anytime that we was deployed, if we were on a base that had both Army and Air Force, the first thing we found was the Air Force chow hall.
That's right.
The first thing we found.
That's right.
I haven't got another question. At Rain Makes Corn. Sorry about that. How did your military experience prepare you for high-level client relations and public speaking? Thank you, Rain Makes Corn, for that question.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I think I'm naturally somewhat of a talker, so I think this may come a little natural to me. But I think the longer you're in the military, the more you're going to have to talk to, whether you're in front of 40 people as a platoon leader, or whether you're in front of 120 as a company commander, or whether you're talking to briefing a general officer, as a major or lieutenant colonel. So for me, that was kind of my experience. I just was fortunate to be put in leadership positions where I had to talk, right? I had to communicate clearly, concisely for everyone to understand it. Like I said, as a brand new lieutenant, I've never led probably anything other than being like a man at Taco Bell, right? Like that was when I got in the Army, that was the breadth of my leadership experience, right? I was like a manager at Taco Bell. And I think you learn and you grow. And, one of the things that I learned quickly, though, was being clear and concise, right? I mean, I was talking to 40 people. We're getting ready to execute combat missions in Iraq. This is not the time to be very verbose and to be, add a lot of fluff, right? It's a bottom line up front. This is what we're here to do. I need all 40 of those folks to understand what we're about to do, right? And if 10 of them don't understand, then I think I failed. So I just honed it over time and just trying to be clear and concise. And because those were life or death situations, briefing a general on what we're going to leave the base to go to another base for an exercise. That's not life or death, but briefing those 40 dudes prepared me to brief that general. And it felt like life or death sometimes, talking, depending on what general you get. It could feel like a life or death, even briefing what we're having for chow options. But yeah, so I think thanks for that question. I hope that answered that from my perspective, at least.
All right. And we got another one. From 90210 was fake. In your view, what separates a good communicator from a great one? Thank you for that question. 90210 was fake.
90210. That's a great question. I'll steal what one of my former bosses told me. I was fortunate enough to be the speechwriter last time I was stationed in Hawaii for the U.S. Army Pacific Commander. At that time, it was General Vincent Brooks. And so I was writing speeches for him, doing research. He'd say, hey, Avon, I have to go speak at the Chamber of Commerce for Hawaii in 3 weeks. And this is three topics I want to talk about. I would go research those topics, find a bunch of information, draft up a speech, give it to him. If he used the speech, that meant I did a great job. If he just went off the top of his head, he was so smart he didn't need a speechwriter. But a lot of times that was my bar, was if he said 90% of what I wrote, I knocked that speech out the park. There were many occasions where I wrote something for him and he didn't use any of it. So I said, that one was a dud. But what he told me, what General Brooks told me was, what makes a great communicator is you're able to tell a story that's easily told, easily remembered, and easily retold. So if I tell somebody a story and they can remember it and recite it verbatim, then you've done your job. So I would say that to me is the bar is, do you remember what I said? And can you retell it with the same intent, the same punchline, whatever the case may be, not fumble it. So easily told, easily remembered, easily retold. That's what, to me, is a great communicator.
Okay. All right. And this is from Frank. How do you adjust to the lack of camaraderie in the civilian work environment? Thank you for that question, Frank.
Yeah, Frank, thank you so much. I think I've been fortunate enough to have, 2 jobs and an internship since I've gotten out of the military. The internship I did, it was all virtual. It was with a great company, and it was all virtual though. And you did not feel any camaraderie, at least from my experience at that company. At the Chicago Sun-Times, we got a bunch of scrappy journalists, right? I mean, So that's it. The sports guys are kind of the sports guys. Then you got your hard crime guys over here. You got your business department, but they all share the same vision. So I did feel a lot of camaraderie at that organization. I mean, folks were like, everyone was kind of rowing in the same direction. Journalists were the stars. We knew, in marketing, sales, communications, we knew we were supporting them. So there was a ton of camaraderie in that organization. And now at Booz Allen, I mean, I can't speak highly enough about Booz Allen. Booz Allen, to me, I tell this to all my friends, it's the best of both worlds from my experience thus far. It's literally because Booz Allen is so nested with the military that a lot of those customs and courtesies are still there. A lot of that camaraderie is still there. So I think really to answer your question, I think it's about finding the right organization. Some of them for sure, there's no camaraderie. It's nothing, right? But other organizations, the Sun-Times, Booz Allen, the camaraderie is amazing. So I haven't missed it as much as maybe some folks have, depending on the organizations they've worked with.
Yeah. And I've been with the company for 12 years. And if I didn't feel that camaraderie, I probably wouldn't still be here.
Exactly.
It's great. And
so Frank, come on over to Booz Allen. We got you. You'll find that camaraderie.
All right. Hey, Misfit Nation. Thank you for coming to the ToosDay Crue. Remember to like and share. And hey, if you're a veteran out there, or even if you're not a veteran, you're feeling down, the darkness is coming in, get on the phone, dial 988, take option 1, because tomorrow will be a better day if you are in it. So please. And like me and Steven always say, pop us an email if you need somebody to talk to, and we'll call you, or you can call us. We'll be here for you. So anytime. So we got some more questions coming in. Darn. Let's pop up the next one here if I can find it. Oh yeah, Frank DeMint, he worked for Booz for 5 years.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. I just saw that question. There we go. Nutting good after 2. How did earning a doctorate in business administration change your professional outlook? Thank you for that question.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I'll tell you a little bit about my story, and then I'll answer kind of that question. So my mom is a nurse. She's a career nurse. She worked at the VA. That's in Hampton, Virginia. She met my dad. She traveled across the world. At some point, my mom decided she wanted to be a professor. She wanted to teach college nurses and kind of build that next pipeline generation of nurses. So she went and got her doctorate and was a professor. So at one point in my life, I said, hey, I'm going to get my doctorate too. When I retire from the military, maybe I'll go be a professor too. But I will say, to answer your question, it really helped me become better at researching. One of the big things for the doctorate was doing a lot of research on my topic. So it helped me become I thought I was good at kind of, synthesizing information and researching, but I was not as good. It definitely polished me when it comes to that. So I'm a much better researcher, probably a much better communicator too, because I had to write a long paper for my doctoral as part of the requirements. So I became a much better writer, and definitely a much better researcher. So those are kind of two ways that I think, and I will say it's helped me professionally, because a lot of companies, even though it's not a requirement, they're impressed by the fact that I went and got a doctorate. So even though I'm not applying for jobs in academia where I would be teaching business classes, having that has definitely helped when I'm doing interviews and stuff with different companies. They're always like, "Oh, wow, that's impressive. What was your topic? How long did it take?" You know, it's a good conversation piece. And me and my wife actually did it together. She started before me, but we graduated at the same time. So I caught her, but she was like,
you had to get that in there, didn't you?
I had to get that in there. Yeah, we started together. She started before me, but we finished together. We graduated and walked the stage together. So congrats to her too, but I beat her. That's number one.
That's pretty awesome. You know, I don't know what the percentage is, but I bet you there's not many married couples that have done that. That's awesome.
Sure.
That is awesome.
Thank you. They even put us on our alumni magazine, because it was, like you said, I mean, it's not super common, right, that people do that. So they featured us in our alumni magazine because we had a cool kind of story of, you know, my wife was pregnant through half our classes, and she had our son, and, you know, and I'm like helping her, you know, handing her laptop to turn in an assignment, you know, like the day after she has our son, you know, we got the laptops in the computer. We're kind of going through it together, kind of. So yeah, it was definitely a cool experience, and I'm glad that we got to kind of go through that together, even though it was painful at times.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's an awesome feat. Now, with all the other things that you're doing and everything, do you still find time to mentor and coach people?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think in addition to any, like, you know, just informal coaching and mentoring that I try to do, I'm also a career readiness coach for 4Block, which is a veteran organization that helps veterans find like meaningful employment and networking. So I'm a coach there. I think I went through the program myself, and about 2 years ago, and I've coached two cycles of students. And then I think that's a huge thing. It's a huge commitment, and I love doing that. But I also think coaching and mentoring is something that you can do forever, right? I think as soon as I got out, the most requests I was getting was from folks was like, "Hey, how do you navigate the VA process?" Right? That was the first thing. So I'm coaching and mentoring folks on getting your VA appointments, trying to get your rating, all that good stuff. But even in the civilian world, I think there's still a place for that, right? And I have mentors who've been at Booz Allen for a long time who I talk to. I have people I'm mentoring who've been at Booz Allen longer than me, but I'm a little older, got a few more grades than they may have. So I'm able to kind of just give them life wisdom, So yeah, I think it's super important. I think one of the things I'm very passionate about is like making sure the next generation is better than we were, right? Like, I think, we've got more skills and we've got more access to information than previous generations, and we have more opportunities, like this platform, right? Podcast, that wasn't really a thing. That wasn't an opportunity for folks 30 years ago, right?
No.
One of the things is just, I really feel strongly about helping the next generation continue the path we're on and make things better. So anytime I can talk to folks or mentor folks one-on-one, group sessions, through an organization like 4Block or even informally, I try to take advantage of that.
All right. That way we can leave this rock a little better than we found it.
Most definitely. Definitely.
It's truthfully, I think that should be everybody's goal in life, is because it needs to be that way.
Yeah. It only takes a few seconds to talk to somebody. It doesn't cost anything, right? Just make a little bit of time, talk to someone, help them out. You never know the impact you have, right? An informal conversation you think was just a chat becomes, changes someone's life.
Yeah. I mean, your chat could, do they make a good decision or a bad decision? You could have helped them not make a bad decision. So, yeah. All right.
We got another question then.
All right, Steve.
At JD's 3124, he wants to know, or she wants to know, what advice would you give veterans trying to shift into the corporate leadership roles? Thank you, JD.
Thank you. That's a good question.
That's an amazing question. I would say there's so many things that are Your networking is different. Your resume is one big thing everyone talks about that has to be a little bit different for a corporate job. If you're coming to Booz Allen, they kind of understand company command, battalion command, for the most part, right? They understand that language. But if you're applying to a company like the Chicago Sun-Times, they don't understand that language. So you have to like tweak your resume. Interviewing is not something that comes natural to most service members. So I guess ultimately what I would say though is there are so many organizations. There's this company called Hiring Our Heroes. There's 4Block I talked about. There's Commit Foundation. There are so many free organizations that are helping veterans make that transition because it's difficult. We're used to it. We're not, I was 20 years. My only job, I worked at Taco Bell, the movie theater, by my house, and then I worked in the Army for 20 years, right? So I don't have a ton of experience with like corporate lingo and interviewing and networking. I didn't have that, but working with these organizations, like I said, there's a ton of them. Hire Heroes USA, there's a ton of them. I would say find one or two of them and pick their brain, get in a session with them, get in a cycle with them. It's all free of charge. They're all pro bono free organizations. So I think that would be my advice because they're going to help you with everything that there's a laundry list of things that you have to prepare yourself for as you prepare to transition. And I think that one of those companies would be the best place to start with that transition.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cause I know when I got out and still, I retired in 2011. I've only ever been on 2 job interviews. And, and I got my first job when I got out of the military and staying true to the percentages. I did not stay in that job very long because something better came along. And, now hopefully I stay here till I retire or decide to get out and start doing stuff I want to do. But, Hire Heroes wrote my resume and made me marketable. That was, And it's a great service out there. It is
you don't have to do it yourself. Please don't do it. If you're a veteran and you're transitioning, there's so many resources. I overcommitted myself. I signed up for every veteran program and I got a little overwhelmed, but there's so many valuable resources out there. You don't have to do it alone. So don't feel like you got to learn this and navigate this by yourself. There's a million companies out here that want to help veterans transition to meaningful careers.
Awesome. And, and thank you to those companies because, just a few years ago, I probably, late 70s into the 80s and 90s, there weren't people out there doing that. And
exactly,
a lot of people were stuck. And this has been a big help. Got another question in here from Hollaback Girl 4. What is the most rewarding leadership challenge you faced post-military? Thank you for that question, Hollaback Girl 4.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll make it as brief as I can. So this is from when I was working at the Chicago Sun-Times. So we were at a crossroads. We touched on it a little bit earlier where, print is not what print used to be. We all know that. Mm-hmm. The journalists in our newsroom felt very strongly about maintaining a very robust print presence. All the sales team, marketing team, advertisers, CEO, everybody on the other side was more so in line with, hey, we can save some money, help the organization out if we cut one day of print, right? So that was kind of, the newsroom was here, the CEO and staff was here, and they said, hey, we need someone to lead this project and they were like, Avon, can you do it? Talk to the journalists, understood their points, talk to the leadership, talk to the staff, sales, advertising, marketing, understood their point. It was but we never really could see eye to eye. Ultimately what we ended up doing was we combined some of our coverage for the weekend, but we kept all of our days, right? So we didn't eliminate any days because the journalists were very adamant about, hey, this is the only way some people get their news. Is this paper at their local library, or this paper at their Walgreens, or this paper that gets delivered to their house? And if we pull a day away, we're doing a disservice. You know, we're here to tell Chicago's story. We're here to inform the people, help them make the most of their city. And I understood both points. I understood the leadership was like, hey, we can save a significant amount of money by cutting the day. We came to a compromise, and we started a new thing called the Sunday Sun-Times. So the newspaper obviously is Chicago Sun-Times, but we started Times. We took our best content from Saturday, moved it into Sunday. It was sports. Our sports content from Saturday, moved it into Sunday, gave us a more robust paper for Sunday, a smaller paper for Saturday. So there still was some cost savings, but we didn't eliminate the whole thing. So the Saturday paper got a little slimmer, which saved us some money, which made the finance team and folks happy. But we also didn't take any of the print that people rely on in the city away. So that was a huge challenge, and I'm glad we got to a compromise. I don't think anyone was completely pleased, but we accomplished both objectives. Saved the company a little bit of money, but kept our print presence the same way it had always been.
Good deal, because I would hate to see, you know, the angry citizens of Chicago picket the Sun-Times, wanting their newspapers.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. And that Sunday Sun-Times paper was that year. That was 2023. That was our highest selling paper that year. So I was fortunate to work on something that had like a kind of a huge impact, and people really flocked to that Sunday version.
Yeah. Now, question: you're leaving Chicago. What are you going to miss most?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to miss a lot of things, but the food in Chicago is pretty elite. There's a ton of different restaurants. You could go out and eat probably every day, and I don't think you could hit all of them. I'll say that. I'm from Virginia originally, but I've adopted Chicago hot dogs because there's no ketchup on them, and that's the right way. Mustard, put some onions on that thing, some peppers, no ketchup. So I'll definitely miss the hot dogs. I will die on the hill that with my fellow Chicagoans that ketchup does not belong on a hot dog.
I understand.
Yeah, I go mustard, chili, cheese.
Yep, fair. Yep. No ketchup.
And I would probably walk to Chicago for a Portillo's Italian sausage sandwich.
Oh man! I had one yesterday. I'm definitely gonna miss that as well. Portillo's is expanding though. I know they got some in Texas now. They're in a few other places. Not in Hawaii yet, but they're definitely expanding. I was in San Antonio for work, and my Uber driver was like, "Hey, there's a Portillo's in San Antonio." I was, what? I didn't try it. I said, "I'm going back to Chicago in a couple. I don't need to try this San Antonio version, but yeah, Portillo's, you can't beat it. Can't beat it."
Now,
the chocolate cake is also phenomenal.
Have you tried the big sandwich where they put the Italian sausage and the Italian beef?
Oh yeah.
On the...
Oh yeah. Oh, amazing.
And then it's time for a nap.
Oh, it's definitely time for a nap. But Portillo's has got some amazing. Oh, Portillo's are some amazing food.
It just popped in here that Portillo's is now offering the Leo in honor of Chicago native Pope Leo.
Yes, indeed.
Nice.
That was our biggest selling paper. I'm no longer with the company, but that was the biggest selling paper for this year. I still have colleagues that work there, and I said, "Hey, did that Pope paper, did that outsell my Sunday Sun-Times?" They're like, "Yeah," by a significant margin.
Hey,
so I had the record, but it's fallen.
If you're going to lose, it's okay to lose to the Pope.
I'm fine with losing to the Pope for sure.
Well, hey, we've hit. That's a question.
Why don't I jump in more? Well, a lot of the time today they're talking Army stuff, and I was never in the service, so I really don't get into that conversation. That's why Jake jumps in, and he's all over that because he was in it for 73 years, and he knows all about that stuff.
Not quite 73 there.
72 and a half.
Somebody was joking with me one day, said I was still using Civil War combat leave. So, but
you did show us your musket and everything. That's why I figured.
Yeah. We're fixing to wind down here. Now, we popped up some different websites, but if somebody wants to reach out to you, they just get you through your LinkedIn?
Yeah, that's probably
the
the one I check the most. You
Okay.
can get me on Facebook too, Avon Donnell. My dad, I'm the second, so my dad stole the Avon Cornelius username on Facebook from me, so I am Avon Donnell on Facebook. I've also got a really cool website. You can see some of the stuff I've worked on, avoncornelius.com. Password is marketing 2025 with 2 exclamation points. It's password protected, but it's a really cool site. It showcases a lot of cool stuff I worked on. My wife helped me put that website together because I'm not the most technically savvy individual, but yeah, you can check out the website. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Hit me up on Facebook. Yeah, feel free, please.
All right. Well,
love to hear from folks.
Yeah, hearing from folks is good, and sometimes you meet some amazing people, and that's one thing me and Steven have talked about doing this podcast. We have met some amazing people that have done some amazing things, and I'm excited. What's next for you after you do this stint? What are you going to do next? But and feel free. If you do venture out into something else, contact us. We'll have you on here and we'll rehash this and talk about that.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. Anytime I get a chance to tell my story, talk to folks, communicate with folks, I appreciate what you guys are doing for the community, for veterans, for non-veterans. I really, really just appreciate you guys having this platform and having me on.
Good deal. Now it's time to put you on the hot seat. You got, what are your, and we ask all of our guests this, but what are 3 non-negotiables that you have to do every day? I mean, without fail, or your day is not complete.
Yeah, most definitely. I kind of knew this was coming because I watched some of the prior episodes as part of my research. So I was like, let me be prepared for this. One of the things is pray. I think for me, I believe in higher power, and I know that I wouldn't be here with a great family, great support system, great parents, great friends without that higher being. So definitely got to make sure I pray every day. It's one of the big things. I'm big on just making sure I spend at least a little bit of time with my kids each day. I know, and that's challenging, right? As we all know, life is busy, work is busy, but I try to at least carve out, even if it's just on our drive to school, just to have a little bit of quality time, or even if it's just reading a book in the evening, just making sure I carve out at least a little bit of time for my kids and my wife every day. Like I said, I know that can go by the wayside. And lastly, I'm a big food person, so I got to eat something good every day. Every day of my life, I try to make sure I get at least one meal in that is not, your standard, just whatever's like right there in the kitchen or whatever's closest fast food place. So I try to get one quality meal a day. I fail at that more days than I'm successful. That's one of the things I try to do every day. Spend time with the family, pray, meditate, things of that sort, and then try to get a good solid meal in there. I live to eat. Some people, eat to live, but
yeah. I'm in the live to eat category.
Most definitely. Same.
All right. Well, hey, Misfit Nation, thank you for coming and hanging out with us this evening. Remember to like and subscribe. And again, if you're feeling the darkness, get on that phone, dial 988, take option 1, call a friend. Tomorrow will be better with you in it. And yeah, that's about it. And Avon, thank you so much for coming on here. Best of luck on your move to Hawaii. Now, hey, you're a civilian now. Well, okay, since your wife is still in the military, I guess technically it is a PCS, but you don't. Here in a while, you won't have to call it that anymore. So
can't wait.
All right. Well, Misfit Nation, we love you, and we'll catch you next time.
One more thing. Don't forget to check out the Misfit Nation on Reach Across America Radio, 3 p.m. Eastern on Mondays.
Okay.
Give it a look. Check it out.
Check it out.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.
Hello, excuse me. Do you have an app or business idea? Now, you can actually tell AI to automatically code it and create a live website. Everything, really fast. Try our vibe coding platform, Lovable. It empowers anyone to build apps and websites by talking to AI at lovable.dev.